And now the news. And this week, carmakers are playing with fire again, BMW's latest rolling wart, and an even faster car for the school run. So I came across this article talking about how AI-defined vehicles will replace software-defined vehicles. Needless to say, this struck a chord. Software-defined vehicles are becoming a bigger and bigger thing in the market these days. But in spite of that, few manufacturers actually know how to build a proper software-defined vehicle. We're in that weird phase with new technology where some are getting it right and some aren't, and that can be accurately reflected in the number of recalls that are requiring over-the-air updates these days. But the car world doesn't sit still. Even though we're very focused on software-defined vehicles at the moment, AI-defined vehicles are becoming the new thing. Now there's little detail on what that actually means at the moment, but early explanations seem to be along the lines of cars will be able to diagnose issues themselves and preempt failures. Also, don't forget, they'll be able to make people spend money. There's a long rant on it on this video I've linked over here, but the short version is that AI will analyze you as you drive along, and it'll subtly suggest ways to spend money. For example, sending you home via a KFC. The other thing it'll definitely do is send information about you, be it your spending habits, be it your driving style, all of that, because let's remember, cameras focusing on the driver are a thing, back to the manufacturer so that they can then sell it off as marketing data. That in itself is a really serious problem, but another one is that manufacturers are trying to run before they can walk. AI is getting better, but it has its limits. You can't always trust ChatGPT to give you accurate data yet, so why would you trust AI in a car? And before all you AI nerds run in and complain about, oh, how there are different types of AI and blah, 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 that's not the point here. The point is, AI is not mature enough yet to be handling everything in a car for us. But coming back to it, manufacturers still can't build software-defined vehicles without a million bugs, and a software-defined vehicle is the underpinning of an AI-defined vehicle. It's like you can't build a house without knowing how to build the foundations first. The world is moving so quickly, and everyone is scared that everyone else will get ahead, meaning car makers are trying to run before they can walk, and that will lead to issues. Another consideration is the general sentiment on AI. Yes, a lot of people do use it and it provides a lot of value to the world, but a lot of people blame AI for a lot of the problems too. As an example of this, Ford just rehired 350 veteran quality inspectors because they replaced them with AI to do the same job, and quality fell through the floor, costing them billions. Beyond that, there are endless memes online about how AI is bad, and even if it's not completely true, it doesn't matter. What matters is whether people think it's true or not. If companies market AI-defined vehicle as a selling point, you may find that a lot of people end up avoiding that car. Actually, to end this segment, here's a good idea. Whenever a trend becomes big enough, a counter-trend is born too, often creating a very lucrative market as well. I challenge any manufacturer out there to take a chance on removing software and removing AI from vehicles instead of adding it. I'm not saying everything, but everything that's completely superfluous. Because if everyone builds an AI vehicle, all of these vehicles will just be the same. There will be a slightly different looking laptop. If you then make the point that your car isn't an AI vehicle and doesn't have subscriptions for heated seats, etc., you will have a massive market all to yourself. So there's the idea. Now, which large car maker has the guts to do it? Another blot on the landscape has been revealed in the form of the new BMW X5. We knew this latest eyesore was coming, but it's no better now that it's here. I'm not going to rant yet, I'll start with the boring stuff and I'll finish with the shouting. Technically, this vehicle is a masterpiece. As a platform, it can handle petrol, diesel, plug-in hybrid, electric, and hydrogen powertrains. Supposedly down the line, it'll also be coming with a V8 version in the form of an M60 variant. And just to clarify, they have already announced an M60E, but that will have 6 cylinders as opposed to 8. Power across the variants ranges anywhere from 314 to 623 horsepower, with the slowest 0 to 100 time coming in 6.1 seconds and the fastest being 4.5. Range across all variants is good too, but the EV is particularly notable with a claimed 525 miles or 840 kilometers off a single charge. Granted, that's BMW's own claim, so it's probably a little optimistic, but even getting close to that is really impressive given the size of the vehicle. The first variants are set to release to market in late November, and the electric and PHEV versions will follow in early 2027, so appreciate your eyesight till then. And with that, on to the looks. Neue Klasse was always ugly, so this never stood a chance to begin with. I've said it before and I will say it again. Many people throughout the company needed to approve this atrocious design language, meaning the rot is throughout BMW. We've had 4 generations of X5 before this, and they all looked amazing. This is a combo breaker. For me, moving away from the kidney grille was always going to be a mistake, although in fairness, so was making it gigantic. And I don't care that it harks back to the old BMWs like the 2002. It's just not suited to modern day design. Although in fairness, I'm not one to really talk about modern day design because I hate a lot of what's coming out anyway, but we're going to go with it. The thing is, you don't see Ford modeling new Mustangs on the 80s and 90s Mustangs, for good reason. The X's in the headlights look dumb, I'm sorry. Merc did a way better job in getting the 3-pointed star into its headlights, but that doesn't mean it works for every car. Thankfully, you can spec straight lines as these lights instead of these dumb X's, but it still doesn't help the ugly look of this car overall. The side profile looks reasonable, but it's ruined by the fact that you can still see bits of the hideous front and back end. The wheel arches for me are a bit too squared off, but that's just a personal preference. I wouldn't really hold it against the car. The back again pushes the stupid light bar trend. I know it's not a full light bar, but it still gets the effect, and that's enough to ruin it for me. Also, these lights are too thin. This is a big vehicle. I feel like it needs bigger lights as well. The back looks like it was designed by AI, and that's probably the biggest insult I can give a designer. But you know what? Fuck them. We're the true victims here. Inside, the screen looked like a bunch of offcuts from a metalwork factory, except they're screens instead of pieces of metal. Keeping the screens in focus, almost all the controls are within them, so BMW hasn't learned that this dumb trend is dumb yet. I feel like we should create a stigma around touch controls in cars. Like, if an important control like a fan doesn't have its own buttons, the car should be considered a cost-saving car that isn't actually driver-focused. Spread that rumor around and bully car makers into spending the money that they should be spending to make physical buttons. Moving on to the steering wheel and window controls, it's hard to tell if these are touch or not, but they don't look very intuitive. I'd be curious to see what reviewers say when they get their hands on the vehicle. Lord knows I'm not. Next, what the hell is the steering wheel? Now, I know this isn't the only steering wheel available, but the fact that they even considered this to begin with is ridiculous. I don't see a world in which this is a good idea. It's ugly, it's unintuitive, and it looks really uncomfortable to hold. And I guarantee people will get confused about the position of the wheel, with the top and bottom looking the same. The whole point of a wheel is that it's supposed to do the job without you having to look at it. If you're having to constantly look to see whether the wheel is upright or not, that's problematic. The car is no doubt packed full of tech, so I imagine it'll stick to the high standards set by previous X5s. What I would like to know is what the BMW aficionados think of this car. Not the guy running around with an E46 320i who says he's the world's biggest BMW fan. I mean the type of people who actually go out and buy new BMWs. Will they actually want to own or even lease these cars? In my perfect world, these wouldn't even exist, let alone be available to buy. But I realize that I don't represent the car buying public, especially not at this price point. I really pray that this design language is a commercial failure, even more than I pray for a cage match between Jim Farley and a mountain lion. The hottest version of the Lamborghini Urus has been unveiled, the Urus SE Performante. The Urus is only sold as a hybrid now, but that doesn't mean the Performante is going to be tame. The car pushes out 801 horsepower and apparently pushes this big hybrid lump to 100 km an hour in 3.3 seconds, or very close to hypercar territory. The car is helped by a revised suspension and a whole bunch of aerodynamics. My only complaint here is that they focus a little bit too hard on the technical. I feel like they should have given it a moronic wing like the Aventador SVJ, for no reason other than because they could. Being a hybrid, the car gets around 50 kilometers out of pure battery mode, although I can't imagine owners will not want to hear the twin-turbo V8 for that amount of distance. The brakes have been upgraded too, and a Krapovich have helped in making sure that your neighbors know that you're coming home 10 minutes before you do. A whole host of interesting suspension tweaks have been added too, but the one that interests me is rally mode. I can't see what lunatic would try drifting this on a loose surface, but then this wouldn't be the first Lambo to go off-road. Inside, the touchscreen interface has been redesigned to look a bit more exciting, but it's still mostly touchscreens, which means you're going to crash this car just trying to adjust the aircon. Carbon fiber is the order of the day, along with micro suede and various fun colors, no doubt. Sales will start early 2027, and while there's no official price yet, we're all too poor to afford it anyway. Koenigsegg has finally unveiled the first Gemera for a customer. You may be forgiven for thinking that the car already exists and the reason we don't see it is because we're poor, but no, the car has taken 6 years to get to production. It was initially going to have 3 electric motors alongside their really powerful 2-litre twin-turbo 3-cylinder engine, but they've now gone with a V8 instead, no doubt because of customer feedback. That change caused a delay of 3 years, but it does mean the car has nearly 2,300 horsepower. There is a Koenigsegg dealership not too far from me, so I may have to take a look for it when I go past there. A Japanese university has found that driving a manual is better for the brain. Now, it shouldn't be a surprise given it obviously requires more cognition, but it is nice to have science back this up. Basically, the extra amount of work you do while operating a manual stimulates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for complex decision making and memory. So what they're saying here is if you drive a manual, you are smarter, meaning next time someone insults you over it, just remember you don't punch down. Polestar is out of business in the US. There are new rules coming in about using connected software and hardware next year, mainly no China, no Russia. Polestar, for those unaware, is owned by a Chinese company and therefore uses a lot of the same tech as them. They will keep their dealerships open for a while as they sell out the existing stock, but they're focusing more on Europe where they've had much more success anyway. In the latest edition of Rich People Will Do Anything But Solve the World's Problems, the latest custom Bugatti Mistral is made out of porcelain. Like actual porcelain. The Mistral Blanc Eternal doesn't have a typical aluminium body, but one made out of porcelain by a German company whose name I can't pronounce. The porcelain accents are all over the interior too, so like speaker covers, the gear shifter, and the window switches. And just to add more stupidity to it, Bugatti and the aforementioned porcelain company will make and sell 1,000 reusable coffee cups that match this car. I generally like these one-off Mistrals, but the opulence here actually makes me sick. Now for all the people who say they don't make them like they used to, I say thank Christ. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety in America found a pristine 30-year-old Chevy Blazer and said, not if we have anything to say about it. Imagine being the previous owner of this car. You've sold it because you can't afford food for the month and hoped you would find a really good home for it. Then you go onto YouTube and you see it get crashed to prove an arbitrary point. I don't know what the IIHS building looks like, but they should probably speak to American schools about appropriate defenses for someone going full John Wick in the building. Anyway, the point is a modern Chevy Blazer was pitted against this poor 30-year-old one in a head-on collision to see what the results were, and they're exactly what you expect them to be. The old one folds like paper mache and very likely kills the occupants. The new one also isn't walking away from this, but its passengers probably are. 30 years of safety advancements have brought us a long way. Now, there is a new Kia Niro, and that is the end of the news.